Chapter 13. Percy. Percy slept like a Medusa victim, which is to say, like a rock. He hadn't crashed in a safe, comfortable bed since, well, he couldn't even remember. Despite his insane day and the million thoughts running through his head, his body took over and said, "You will sleep now." He had dreams, of course. He always had dreams, but they passed like blurred images from the window of a train. He saw a curly-haired fawn in ragged clothes running to catch up with him. "I don't have any spare change," Percy called.
"Wait," the fawn said. "Oh, Percy, it's me, Grover. Stay put. We're on our way to find you. Tyson is close. At least we think he's the closest. We're trying to get a lock on your position."
"What?" Percy called, but the fawn disappeared into the fog. Then Annabeth was running along beside him, reaching out her hand. "Thank the gods," she called. "For months and months we couldn't see you. Are you all right?" Percy remembered what Juno had said. For months he's been slumbering, but now he is awake. The goddess had intentionally kept him hidden. But why? "Are you real?" he asked Annabeth. He wanted so much to believe it, he felt like Hannibal the elephant was standing on his chest. But her face began to dissolve. She cried, "Stay put! It'll be easier for Tyson to find you! Stay where you are!" Then she was gone. The images accelerated. He saw a huge ship in a dry dock, workers scrambling to finish the hull, a guy with a blowtorch welding a bronze dragon figurehead onto the prow. He saw the war god stalking towards him in the surf, a sword in his hands. The scene shifted. Percy stood on the field of Mars, looking up at the Berkeley Hills. Golden grass rippled and a face appeared in the landscape. A sleeping woman. Her features formed from shadows and folds in the terrain. Her eyes remained closed, but her voice spoke in Percy's mind. "So this is the demigod who destroyed my son Kronos. You don't look like much, Percy Jackson, but you're valuable to me. Come north. Meet Acleonis. Juno can play her little games with the Greeks and Romans, but in the end, you will be my pawn. You will be the key to the gods' defeat." Percy's vision turned dark. He stood in a theater-sized version of the camp's headquarters, a principalia with walls of ice and freezing mist hanging in the air. The floor was littered with skeletons in Roman armor and imperial gold weapons encrusted with frost. In the back of the room sat an enormous shadowy figure. His skin glinted of gold and silver as if he were an automaton like Raina's dogs. Behind him stood a collection of ruined emblems, tattered banners, and a large golden eagle on a staff of iron. The giant's voice boomed in the vast chamber. "This will be fun, son of Neptune! It's been eons since I broke a demigod of your caliber. I await you atop the ice." Percy woke, shivering. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. Then he remembered. Camp Jupiter, the 5th cohort barracks. He lay in his bunk, staring at the ceiling and trying to control his racing heartbeat. A golden giant was waiting to break him? Wonderful. But what unnerved him more was that the sleeping woman's face in the hills. "You will be my pawn." Percy didn't play chess, but he was pretty sure that being a pawn was bad. They died a lot. Even the friendlier parts of his dream were disturbing. A fawn named Grover was looking for him? Maybe that's why Don had detected what did he call it? An empathy link? Somebody named Tyson was searching for him too, and Annabeth had warned Percy to stay where he was. He sat up in his bunk. His roommates were rushing around, getting dressed and brushing their teeth. Dakota was wrapping himself in a long piece of red speckled cloth, a toga. One of the Lars was giving him pointers on where to tuck and fold. "Breakfast time?" Percy said hopefully. Frank's head popped up from a bunk below. He had bags under his eyes like he hadn't slept well. "A quick breakfast, and then we go to the Senate meeting." Dakota's head was stuck in his toga. He staggered around like a Kool-Aid stained ghost. Percy said. "Should I wear my bed sheets?" Frank snorted. "That's just for the senators. There are 10 of them elected yearly. You have to be at camp for 5 years to qualify." "So how come we're invited to the meeting?" "Because the quest." Frank sounded worried, like he was afraid Percy would back out. "We have to be in on the discussion. You, me, Hazel. If you're willing." Frank probably didn't mean to guilt him, but Percy's heart felt like taffy. He had sympathy for Frank. Getting claimed by the war god in front of the whole camp was a nightmare. Plus, how could Percy say no to that big pouty baby face? Frank had been given a huge task that would most likely get him killed. He was scared, and he needed Percy's help.